Welcome back into the Tide Talk podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. I am your host, Stacey Blackwood, alongside Jake Thomas. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good and had a rough week at work. Thankfully, we're at last of it, but a lot of I missed a lot on the SEC media days, and so I'm excited to catch back up on some things.
Yeah, it's SEC Media Days has come and gone, and like you said, it's about to wave the checkered flag on the week
Mhm.
for Jake. So I know he's excited about that, and we're going to dive into today's episode real soon. But first, I got to tell you about our friends at betonline.ag. The NBA playoffs are done. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks on winning the NBA championship. But Major League Baseball is still going on. And of course, they have that 24-hour casino that is always open. So head on over to betonline.ag, sign up today, and you receive that 50% welcome bonus. Betonline.ag. And also, real quick, before we go any further, I need you to hit that subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts,
Mhm.
Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to us at. Make sure you are subscribed. Get in the comment section on YouTube. Tell us what you think about today's episode. Give us your thoughts on the football season that's coming up, what you think Alabama's record is going to be, how you think the West is going to shake up, how you think the East is going to shake up, and something else we're going to talk about Oklahoma and Texas and the possibility of them joining the SEC. So make sure you jump in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts on all those topics. All right, Jake, let's just dive right on to it. One of the
Mhm.
big news stories of the week was apparently Saban was at a Texas high school coaches convention, kind of let it out there, I think, as a recruiting pitch. It's the name of the game is recruiting.
That's right.
That Bryce Young was nearing seven figures in NIL earnings. What was your initial reactions to that, and just your overall thoughts on the NIL situation with some of the high profile athletes like Bryce Young?
I was actually shocked. I mean, in all honesty, the guy hasn't even started yet at Alabama,
Right.
and he's already making potentially, quote $1 million.
Right.
And like I said on my other show Tuesday night, I was on Best of the West. Uh, we talked about it briefly, but like I said, it's going to help some players, and it's better for other players because they're more star powered, star guys and type deal. But in all honesty, I like it. At least they're finally getting a little bit of money from the likeness. That was a big issue. When we was growing up, and a lot of that stemmed from the EA games. The football games. So now we got that back. We may be getting the games back. Who knows? There's still a lot of talk about that, but it's interesting. But I also love Lane Kiffin's comment this week. I did hear that where he was like, "He's already making $1 million. Well, he don't have to come. He don't have to play against us that weekend."
Yeah, yeah,
So
dude, I love Lane Kiffin,
I
man.
love
He's
him. He's
he's
so funny.
fantastic. He
He
is
is.
he is must see TV. But on
Yes.
Bryce Young, obviously super happy for that dude, man. I
Oh
hope he can
yeah.
get as much as he can get, and that's for any athlete, whether it's a volleyball player, a tennis player, a golf player, softball,
Mhm.
whatever the sport may be. I'm just excited that these athletes can make money off of themselves. But Saban did make a good point at media days. Back in the old days, they used to be able to make money. They used to go have to get a job and they could
Right.
make money that way. But now they can make money, a little bit different way. And in today's climate and today's culture and, college athletics, some of these high profile athletes are going to make a lot of money. The average athlete's going to make a few $1,000s, but Jake, a few
Mhm.
$1,000s to a 18 to 21-year-old kid is a pretty big deal. So I'm excited for all these athletes, excited for Bryce Young. I'm really surprised that he is already to that mark, like you said,
Yeah.
knowing that he hasn't even started a game yet for
Mhm.
Alabama.
Yeah.
But Bryce has a terrific brand on himself coming out of high school, highly recruited kid out of California. And then also he's at Alabama. I mean, it's just it really is just the nature of the beast. It's another way that Alabama can kind of get a leg up on some of these other programs. I mean, they've got the spotlight on them. So the
Right.
quarterback at Alabama is going to have, perhaps the biggest spotlight in all of college athletics at this moment in time. So uh, happy for Bryce Young. I'm still surprised a little bit that it's around that number,
That's
like you
crazy.
said, without even starting a game. So, but excited for Bryce. I hope he makes all the money he can make out of it, and
Oh yeah, for
uh,
sure.
and I hope he wins us a lot of football games too.
And I believe he will. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, hey, and let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Saban also mentioned something at media days that was in Saban's own way, throwing shade at one Scott Cochran when he mentioned that since adding Dr. Matt Rhea and David Ballou, soft tissue injuries were down around 50% to previous seasons.
Say that again, Stacey.
Soft tissue injuries are down 50%.
There you go.
And this is something that we've all talked about
Hmm.
even before Cochran left Alabama.
Right.
The injuries were just piling up, man. I
Hmm.
mean, if you had an ACL, it was getting tear down there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to
Crazy.
say, I mean, I hate to be like that. I hate to
Hmm.
throw shade at Scott Cochran because he was part of what helped build Alabama to what they are.
Yes. Yes.
But uh,
The truth hurts, though.
the truth hurts, man. It does.
Yeah.
And the fact is that the modern athlete, the modern college football game does not need powerlifting.
Right.
It needs a scientific method, and that's what Dr. Rhea and David Ballou bring. And they're really at the forefront of this in college athletics. And I just thought that was very interesting. I knew the injuries were down. I didn't realize it was that significant.
I hadn't either. That's incredible. That's an incredible stat. 50%, nearly 50% soft tissue injuries are down. I think the other 50%, unfortunately, though, is for the basketball team because it seems like everybody's getting ACL tears over there. But like you said, it's not a. I mean, we don't want to crack on Cochran because,
Right.
like you said, he was there for the build up and got our program to this point. Help get the program to this point. So it's not a crack on him, but I mean, just look when he left. First year he was at you know Georgia, even though he wasn't the strength and conditioning coordinator, he was the special teams coach. They automatically started having
It's
injury
crazy.
issues. It was. I mean, it's like the poor guy looks like it seems like he's just an injury prone guy, that takes an injury bug with him everywhere he goes. But that's an incredible stat. And Dr. Matt Rayer and Ballou have done an amazing job down there. And I'm so glad that Saban was able to grab them guys.
Yeah, and Saban mentioned how the players have really bought into their, method of strength and conditioning training. And so that's exciting to see because
Hmm.
it really is a polar opposite of what the program was used to under Scott Cochran. So
Right.
I'm excited that the players are buying into it. They love the fact that they get daily updates on, their, their, I guess, conditioning and aspects like that, and because they're tracked through all this different technology and all this stuff, and I believe under the old regime you wouldn't see an Evan Neal doing the box jumps, and splits like he has been recorded doing, and he put out on Twitter, man. I mean, it's 6'7", 360. I mean, it looked like he was jumping, I don't know, around 3 feet off the ground, maybe a little over
Yes.
that, 3.5 feet, doing the splits. Dude, I just that is something new. That's not
Yes.
something that would have happened, a few years back, and just really excited to have Dr. Ray and David Blue on the staff. I think that they are cutting edge in that side of the strength and conditioning in college athletics, especially on the college football side. And of course, leave it to Saban. He's the one who goes out and find those
Yeah.
guys, brings them on, and is just
Hmm.
ahead of the curve, man. I mean, Saban is always at least one step ahead of everybody else, and
Hmm.
they're that's one of the reasons that he's won 6 championships in 14 seasons at Alabama is because he's always a step ahead. He's always thinking ahead. He's always thinking
Yeah.
about the next move, the next, just he's just different, man. He's built different. Doesn't show any signs of slowing down, like I mentioned in the last episode.
Hmm.
And just it's unbelievable what he's been able to do. And this is just kind of the latest indication of his forethought and foresight into the way the game of football is moving at the college level.
Yeah, and like you said, is another illustration of people have talked about it. Saban's playing chess while others are playing checkers.
That's exactly right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a cliche. It's
yes,
said a lot, but it's the truth.
it is.
If you look at the way he hires coaches, and he spoke about this at media days as well, about how Lane Kiffin doesn't get enough credit for the way he kind of helped change the Alabama's identity on offense. And the truth is, Lane was never a spread type coach either. He come from the
No,
West Coast. I mean,
right.
he's an old school West Coast Bill Walsh type offense. That's what they ran out there at USC with Pete Carroll. And
Yes.
he kind of took that to Tennessee and to the pros. And but Saban knew that Lane had a bright mind on the offensive side of the ball, and he thought, man, if anybody can help us, take that step to working in the RPOs and the spread game, it's Lane Kiffin. And just a masterful hire once again by Saban, and Kiffin knocked it out of the park. And I'm with Saban. I'm not sure Kiffin gets enough credit for revolutionizing the Alabama offense.
Yeah, Alabama has always been ground and pound pretty much. They're going to run down your throat until you stop them, and you can't never stop them. But Saban saw the transition on the offensive ways. You got to have that RPO. You got to have that spread. You don't have to just go totally out and spread it out, but do the RPO. He brought in quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa who could do it. Matt Jones was really successful at it, but they all had help. They had good coordinators like Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian. So Saban always adjusts to the times. And a few years ago, Alabama's defense was very slow at adapting to the spread offenses. Now they're getting better at it. He's getting those thick built, those lean built linebackers that can run all over
Sideline
the
to
field,
sideline. Yep.
sideline to sideline, run all over the place. You got some heavy hitters in the back, in the secondary. So he's adapting to how offenses are changing every day. So he's adapted to that. He's adapted the offensive ways on that side, and it's perfect right now down there.
Well, and Saban also mentioned that the college defenses are slowly starting to catch up with the spread offense. And
Right.
so, and it's the same old song, Jake. College football and I guess NFL to a certain extent, it's always changing. I mean, for a long time, people ran the wishbone.
I
And
know. Yeah.
then people went to shotgun. Then people went back to more of an I formation or single back set. And now we're back to the spread. So, and the defense it's called defense for a reason.
Right.
They're on the defensive side of that. They're trying to react to what the offense is doing. So they're always going to be a couple years behind the offense as far as, schematically and what type of athletes they recruit on that side of the ball. So the defenses, I believe, are catching up a little bit. I think you're going to see Alabama play as good a defense as you can possibly see in the modern era of college football this season. I'm really excited about the potential that this defense has. And a part of that is because of the addition of Henry To'oTo'o. Saban has had a lot of high praise for Henry T. He talked about him during media days and was excited to have him on the team. And he mentioned that they thought he was, one of the best defenders in the country over the last couple of years at Tennessee. So the addition of Henry T, Jake, I think is going to do wonders for this defense. We already have Christian Harris back in the middle as well. So two of the best duos of inside linebackers in all of college football to pair with, arguably the two best ends in college football, and Will Anderson and Christopher Allen. So this defense can be special, and a lot of that has to do with Henry To'oTo'o.
I agree. Getting him again, Saban going out, getting in that, that's another good thing of what has happened is that the recruit, you jump in from school to school, the recruiting, not recruiting, but the transfer portal. There we go. I'll get it out in a minute. the transfer portal. That's another, because Saban's in that all the time, seeing how he can get better at a position, and he's got a couple of good guys out of there, and To'oTo'o is going to be the next great. And man, you just mentioned that inside linebacker position has got Toa Toa and Christian Harris. That's probably the best duo in the nation. You know, on top of probably you already had probably the best end, you know, in Will Anderson. So it's it's amazing that talent down there. But Toa Toa, I believe, is going to come in and he's going to make an immediate impact on the program for sure. And it sounds like he already has.
Yeah, he's. I apologize if y'all can hear my crazy kids in the background. It just kind of is what it is. Life with kids, but
Mhm,
we're gonna keep it rolling here. But
mhm.
yeah, I'm excited to see what Henry T can bring to the defense. I think he has great leadership qualities. I think he's going to be one of the leaders on this team. So really excited to see how he kind of helps this team on the defensive side of the ball. And kind of having that guy Henry T, it allows a player like Jalen Moody to remain on special teams,
Yes.
and he's a fantastic special teams player. So having that depth is just it's so important, man. It's I'm just so excited I'm so ready for the season, man. I'm just so pumped.
Me
Just a
too.
couple weeks till fall camp starts, so that can't get here soon enough. Another thing that Coach Saban mentioned there at media days was that, and this was kind of surprising to me because he doesn't really reveal much about the depth chart. He hates the
Right.
word depth chart, but he kind of revealed that sophomore Javion Cohen was going to be the starter at left guard.
Hmm.
So that was kind of surprising that he mentioned that. He's a guy that we've kind of been keeping our eye on, this off season. So I'm excited that Javion Cohen has played well enough in the coach's eyes to earn a spot before fall camp even gets here. And now, Jake, it's just one tackle spot remains open.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that Evan Neal will move over to left tackle, and that means the right tackle spot is open. Just what are your thoughts on Cohen being named a starter by Coach Saban at media days?
That's interesting because, like you said, Coach Saban hates to talk about the depth chart. He will anybody who brings it up in the media, he will shut it down real quick. Uh,
Quick.
yeah, but the thing about it is, it says a lot for Cohen's character, and because he has fought, he is fought from the ground up, and it sounds like he's earned his spot, and
Yeah.
that's amazing considering the talent you have on the offensive line down there. I mean, like you said, depth chart wise, we're 4 or 5 deep everywhere, and that's including offensive line. So I mean, he's got some experience, so he probably does have a leg up on some of the newcomers, but still, he's worked his way from the bottom of that depth chart, and he's turning heads with coaches, and I think it's rightfully deserved.
Yeah, just real quick, who do you kind of see maybe taking that right tackle spot? I'm gonna go with JC Latham. That's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of who my gut is telling me. Uh, but maybe a guy like Damian George, a sophomore
Mm-hmm.
from Texas, big dude. Maybe he could take that spot. But I think Latham is a guy that kind of like an Andre Smith,
Mm-hmm.
just a natural offensive tackle. Uh, who's going to come in and start right away. Evan Neal
Mm-hmm.
top. So that's who I'm going to go with. Who are you kind of thinking?
I'm thinking it's going to be Latham and potentially the Brockmeyer, the Brockmeyer brother, one of those guys. I know one of them is built out as a center, so but I think it's going to be
Tommy's the tackle. Tommy's
yeah,
the tackle.
Tommy. So I think it's going to be Latham. Like you said, he's built to attack. A kid to be at tackle. So there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of talent down there, though. So I think Saban and Bill O'Brien, they can plug anybody in that right tackle spot, assuming Neil moves to left, which I'm pretty much 100% sure he's probably going to move to left to be the blindside blocker. Yeah, they could plug anybody at that right tackle spot, and they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Uh, we're almost done with today's show, but I want to ask Jake a couple uh, questions that he don't know about.
And I got
Just
one for you.
all right. So, see, we like to do as little planning as possible because we like authentic reactions to questions. We
It's
don't.
kind of hard for me to working during the day, so yeah,
But anyways,
yeah.
my question for you, Jake,
Hmm.
is where would you rank Najee Harris as far as all time Alabama running backs?
Uh, I would have him. I would have him third.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
have I to me. I as much as I love Derrick Henry, but truthfully, my favorite running back in the history of Alabama is Sean Alexander. Sean Alexander, he was just an incredible athlete. So I think he's number one. Then Derrick Henry, and then Najee Harris. That's how I see it right now.
I think I would probably have it that way too. Sean Alexander is probably my all-time favorite player, so
Yes.
so that may be a little biased.
Yeah, I
But
know.
I was just thinking about where I mean, he's obviously the all-time leading rusher,
Hmm.
but he was so special, man. And out of all the players we're losing from last year's team, he may be the biggest loss. I
Yeah.
mean, aside
Yeah.
from Patrick Surtain.
Right. And honestly, that is a good point because I mean, Brian Robinson, he has the capability of being that guy and being 1,000 yard rusher. Little spoiler alert here. In a few weeks' time, right before the season, I'm going to give my 5 bowl predictions of the year, and I have something interesting talking about the running back situation. So we'll have that in a few weeks, but I think Brad Robinson is going to be a guy who can go for 1,000 yards. But keep your eye on Jace McClellan. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm excited about the room more than a specific guy this
Mm-hmm.
year when it comes to the running backs. But I trust them all. I mean,
Right.
I'm not worried about the running back situation because I think they all can play. And you don't have to have one guy. I mean, people are under the impression that because we lost Najee Harris, our running game is not going to be
Mm,
any good. It may not be the same, but it's still going to be good. It'll just be a little
right.
different. I mean, it'll be more by committee. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't going to be, just a workhorse like Najee was. Uh, he was a special talent, man. I just
It
happened to be
was.
thinking about that today, and where he would kind of rank among the program's greats. And of course, you can't forget about guys like Bobby Humphrey and
Oh gosh,
Tony
no.
Nathan and Johnny Musso, but way back in the day. There's been plenty of them. Derek Lassie,
Mark Mark
Mark
Ingram.
Ingram
I
won a
mean,
Heisman. So
yeah.
Trent
I mean,
Richardson was a really good running back.
yeah. I mean,
Eddie Lacy
Eddie
was really
Lacy.
good.
Yeah.
So it's a long list, but I think I'm with you. I would probably put him third behind
Mhm.
Alexander and Henry, and then probably it's Ingram, and then
Yeah.
Humphrey
Hmm.
would probably be about my top 4 or 5.
Yeah. And I just want to mention real quick, we have talked about this off air, but at the last week's episode, but talking about that corner position, losing Certain, Joe's going to take that corner, number one spot, and we talked about off air. But if there is a question mark on this defense, it's who's going to be corner number two,
Yep.
and pretty much that is the only question mark on the defense. But there is talent there for somebody to take, and
Remember the name Kyrie Jackson.
yeah, yeah,
Kyrie Jackson.
hmm he's starting to turn heads a little bit. I've been seeing so.
I think he is going to be a special player,
Hmm.
but I think Kool-Aid's going to be a special player.
I know. I mean, there's talent.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out once fall
Hmm.
camp gets here and
Yep.
start hearing some things, about what's going on down there. All right,
Hmm.
Jake, one last thing. Did you said you had a question for me,
Well,
right?
mine's not really a question. I just want to make a comment about something you posted the other day on Twitter.
Okay.
And I think you are absolutely 100% correct. It is being overlooked. But Jordan Battle is a special player, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people's talking about him. He does it all on that defense, and he needs to get a little bit more love nationally than what he does because, he can do it all back there.
Yeah, I think he'll have a really good season this
I
year.
do
I
too.
think I don't know if he'll work himself into the first round of the draft, but he'll
Hmm.
be a second round pick for sure. I think he's just got too much talent. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see how he develops in his junior season. People forget that he's just now a true junior. I mean, so he's still a young guy.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm excited about Battle. I'm
Hmm.
excited about Helms. Of course,
Yes.
we talk on and on about Malachi Moore and Brian Branch. So that back end of that defense is in good hands.
Hmm.
Like we said, just gotta knock down that other corner spot, and
which we will.
that'll figure itself out, and we'll have a really solid defense here in this 2021 season.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
excited.
last thing, Jake. The big news yesterday broke that Oklahoma and Texas had inquired about joining the SEC. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm actually against it. I guess I'm too old school, but and they've been talking about for a while about a super conference or a couple of super conferences where, so what they're going to do is split Texas, or the state or the nation down the middle of Texas. Whoever's on this side of Texas is the West. Whoever's on this side of Texas is the East. We already had that in basketball and MLB. It's called the NL and the AL for baseball, and Eastern Conference and Western Conference for basketball. I just, you don't need super conferences. My thing is, if you're tired, and I've said this 1,000 times, if you're tired of Alabama's and Georgia's and Clemson's and Ohio State's and Notre Dame's being in the championship every single year, beat them. It's that simple. You don't have to join a conference to be your own person. Don't join another conference. Notre Dame, you need to, because you're getting a free pass by being the independent league. But anyway, that's different. But you do your own thing. Texas, my opinion, Texas has their own network, the Longhorn Network. They're bringing in most of the money out of the Big 12 anyway, and they still can't win their division. They still can't win their conference. They're gonna come to the SEC and think they're gonna win it. No, ain't happening. Ain't happening.
I partially agree with you. I'm not against either of those teams joining, but the only reason I am kind of for super conferences is because, to me, that's the only way we're going to get away from the NCAA. The NCAA is a joke.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So if the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC all just said, you know what, screw you, NCAA, we're disbanding from you, and we're making our own division of college football. And then there would be kind of super conferences that way. I mean, because you're talking about, the Power 5 conferences being the only conferences at that level of college football. So you would kind of go, it would be a little different, but not a whole lot different than what it is right now. So I guess I don't really care, is what I'm saying. I don't care if they join or not. Texas and Oklahoma both have a lot of money, so that's kind of good.
Well, yeah, for sure.
It makes money sense, if anything. But as far as them thinking that that's going to help them win, I don't know if that's what they think or not, but it's not.
No.
I mean, I'm with you. If you want to knock, if you want to keep Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame from competing for the championship, then beat them.
Right.
Beat them.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
I want to say one other thing, and I'm going to try to keep it as cool as I can, but I'm with you. I don't like the NCAA is a joke, but the one thing I have liked about it until recently, the last, maybe 3 to 5 years, they have pretty much kept politics out of it. Here lately, it's all been politically driven. I mean, this right here, the 12-team playoff expansion, that they want to do. I mean, I have trying to escape from college football. I have an escape route from college football from the political stuff. I have not watched any baseball this year, partly because the Braves are trash. And I'm a Hornets fan, so of course they're horrible. They're getting better, but they're horrible. But I try to stay away. Sports does not need to be involved in politics.
Nope.
It needs to be separate. And my escape from the politics of everyday life and what I have to deal with is college football. Now they're bringing that into it, and it's just irritating. That's the only thing I have against it.
I agree 100%. there's every other sport is so political, it makes it almost impossible to watch.
Yes.
And college football is an escape from all that, and that's what it's
Hmm.
supposed to be. That's what it was designed for. It's an
Right.
escape from reality for us fans.
Hmm.
So I hope it stays that way. I'm with you. It doesn't seem like it's going down the right path at the moment, but I don't really want to dive into that.
No.
Uh, that's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go into.
No.
But great discussion tonight. We covered
Yes.
a lot of topics in just a little over 30 minutes. So uh, we just kind of wanted to get back with you this week to kind of talk about what all Nick Saban had to say at media days, and talk a little bit about Oklahoma and Texas. Go ahead.
I was going to say maybe next week's episode we can talk about what old Bo Nick said about Alabama. Yeah, good
Go
luck,
ahead.
Bo.
Let's go ahead and just talk about that real quick.
Yeah, I just
What was
yeah.
his quote again, Jack? What was his quote again?
He pretty much, I don't know exact word for word, but he said that everybody thinks that Auburn should be scared of Alabama, and he said Auburn's not scared of Alabama. You ought to be. I'm sorry. Your little brother. You're always going to be little brother. I don't care. And yeah, we do have to go down in the plains this year, and y'all have Auburn Jesus, but this is different. You got a new coach. You got a new
I'm
system.
hoping with Gus gone that's gone too.
Yeah, me too. My gosh, but yeah, he. You
Well,
don't poke the
here's
bear this early.
here's my thing. Um, he shouldn't have said it, but what is he supposed to say? And that he's
I
not. I mean,
know.
you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's for the players themselves on the football team. Maybe it's a little bit of motivation.
Right.
Big guy like Phil Mathis see that and he'll think, okay, Bo, we'll see you come November.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know what he's supposed to say. Oh yeah, we're scared of Alabama. He can't say that. So
No, he's not. No, I don't know. I don't know some of these questions
yeah,
that got
and I
brought
don't
up is
even know.
stupid.
Yeah, and we
I
don't know
mean,
the context of the question and all that kind of
right.
stuff. But it is kind of fun to
Yeah.
poke at Bo Nix. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, all right. Hey, before we head out, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast on Apple,
Hmm.
Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Jump in the comment section below. Tell us what you think about tonight's topics. What you think about Bryce Young's NIL earnings. What you think about Coach Saban talking about Henry To'oTo'o. What you think about Saban naming Javon Cohen the starter at left guard. What you think about Oklahoma and Texas possibly joining the SEC. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. Once again, it was brought to you by betonline.ag. Head there today and sign up, and you receive a 50% welcome bonus. For Stacey Blackwood and Jake Thomas, we're the Tide Talk Podcast. You can follow us there. You see it there on your screen. I'm at Blackwood89.
I'm a Jake Thomas Todd.
Jake Thomas TTS.
TTS, yeah. Yeah.
And you can follow our podcast on Twitter at Tide Talk Pod. Also find us on Facebook at Tide Talk Pod and on TikTok at Tide Talk Pod.
That's
All right,
right.
guys, we're heading out now. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.